You are the type of owner who genuinely loves their dog, the kind who notices every little thing, who steps in the moment anything feels uncomfortable. And that instinct comes from a good place. But here is the hard truth nobody wants to say out loud: your protection might be the very thing breaking your dog. Every time you shield them from minor discomfort, you are quietly teaching their nervous system that the world is too dangerous to handle alone. And that lesson has consequences. This video is for every well-meaning dog owner who has watched their dog flinch at a sound, freeze on a walk, or spiral into anxiety, and genuinely cannot figure out why. You have done everything right, or so you thought. What we are about to unpack is one of the most misunderstood ideas in modern dog ownership. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let us start with what is actually happening out there, because this is not a small problem. Veterinarians and animal behaviorists are reporting record levels of clinical anxiety in dogs. Not just nervous dogs, not just shy dogs, but dogs with genuine, diagnosable anxiety disorders that require medication, behavioral intervention, and months of careful rehabilitation. And when you look at the data, it is striking. The rise tracks almost perfectly with the rise of what some behaviorists are calling helicopter parenting, a style of dog ownership built entirely around eliminating risk. The irony is devastating. We love our dogs more than any previous generation. We spend more on their care, their food, their enrichment. And yet, by almost every psychological metric, pet dogs today are more fragile than they have ever been. So what is going wrong? Here is the first thing you need to understand. Stress is not the enemy. Minor, manageable stress is actually one of the most important ingredients in building a resilient nervous system. There is a concept in biology called hormesis, which is the idea that exposure to small amounts of a stressor actually makes an organism stronger. You see it in exercise. You see it in immune function. And you absolutely see it in neurological development. When your dog encounters a minor challenge, something slightly unfamiliar, a new surface underfoot, a dog barking 2 streets away, a stranger walking past, their brain activates a stress response. Cortisol rises slightly, attention sharpens, and then, if nothing catastrophic happens, the brain does something remarkable. It recovers, and in recovering, it actually builds capacity. The hippocampus, which is the brain region most associated with learning and emotional regulation, strengthens through this cycle of mild stress and resolution. But here is what happens when you remove every obstacle before your dog even encounters it. The recovery never happens. The brain never gets to practice bouncing back. And over time, the neural pathways associated with self-regulation start to atrophy. Literally, the brain physically loses some of its capacity to calm itself down. So the next time a stressor appears, even a tiny one, the system overreacts, because it has never learned to do anything else. This is why the dog who has been sheltered from everything panics at something most dogs would shrug off. It is not a personality flaw. It is not bad genetics. It is a nervous system that was never given the chance to develop its own shock absorbers. Now let us talk about what this actually looks like in real life, because I want you to recognize your own patterns here. You pick your dog up when another dog approaches, even though no aggression has been signaled. You cross the street to avoid anything that might cause a reaction. You end the walk early the moment your dog shows any hesitation. You never let them work through the first 30 seconds of discomfort with something new, because watching them struggle feels unbearable. And each one of those moments, taken individually, feels like love. It looks like love. But cumulatively, what you are communicating to your dog is this: when things get hard, I will always remove the hard thing. You do not need to cope, because coping is not your job. That message, repeated hundreds of times across months and years, becomes the operating system your dog runs on. And it is a fragile one. So what is the shift that actually changes things? It starts with changing how you see your role. You are not your dog's bodyguard. You are their guide. And there is a profound difference between those two things. A bodyguard eliminates threats. A guide lets you walk toward the unfamiliar thing and stays close enough that you know you are not alone. A bodyguard makes every decision for you. A guide watches, waits, and steps in only when the situation is genuinely beyond your ability to handle. In practical terms, this means learning to distinguish between your dog being uncomfortable and your dog being in danger. These are not the same thing. Discomfort is the feeling of encountering something new. Danger is an actual threat to their physical or psychological safety, and your job is to get very good at telling the difference. When your dog hesitates at a new surface, that is discomfort. Let them investigate. Give them time. Do not lure them past it immediately, do not carry them over it, do not remove the surface from the equation. Just be a calm, present anchor while they figure it out. When they step on it, even one paw, that is a win. Not because they conquered something huge, but because their brain just practiced the cycle of stress and resolution. That is the workout their nervous system needed. When your dog hears a sound that makes them look up sharply, do not immediately reach down to comfort them. Wait. Watch. If they look at the sound, look back at you, and then relax, that is exactly what you want. You do not need to insert yourself into that process. Your calm presence is already the message. You are saying, with your body language and your stillness, this is fine. We are fine. Now, there is a version of this advice that gets taken too far, and I want to address it directly. Calculated exposure is not the same as flooding. Flooding is overwhelming a dog with a stressor they cannot handle and leaving them no way out. That causes trauma. That makes things worse. What we are talking about is the opposite. It is thoughtful, graduated exposure to things that are mildly challenging, at a pace your dog can actually process. Think of it like building a muscle. You do not start someone at maximum weight on day one. You start light, you add gradually, and you let the muscle recover between sessions. The goal is progressive capacity, not sudden overwhelm. The same logic applies here. You are not throwing your dog into the deep end. You are letting them wade into the shallows, feel the resistance of the water, and come back to shore on their own terms. And then you do it again tomorrow, and the water gets a little deeper. Over time, something shifts. Not just in your dog, but in you. When you stop bracing for every possible reaction, when you stop scanning every environment for things to eliminate, you become a different kind of owner. Calmer, more present, less reactive yourself. And your dog reads that. They read it in your posture, your breath, your pace. Your settled energy is one of the most powerful training tools you have. And it only becomes available to you when you stop operating from a place of constant vigilance. The dogs who grow up with a guide instead of a bodyguard are the ones who can walk into a new environment and sniff around with curiosity instead of cowering. They are the ones who recover quickly when something startles them. They are the ones who look to you for information, not rescue. And that relationship, built on trust rather than dependence, is one of the most rewarding things dog ownership can offer. If any of this landed for you, the next step is simple. On your very next walk, pick one moment where you would normally step in and just wait instead. Stay calm, stay close, and let your dog work through 30 seconds of discomfort on their own. That is where growth begins. Share this with someone who loves their dog so much they might be loving them a little too hard. They need to hear it too. Thanks for watching. If you loved this video, scan the QR code on the screen right now to subscribe and join the Pawsome Life family. Give your dog a belly rub for us, and we will see you in the next video.